Welcome to Healing from Within. My name is Keryn Rose and this is my podcast. I'm here to challenge you and your connection with yourself with questions like, are you firing on all cylinders? Do you feel the messages your physical body is sending you? Are you plugged into your intuition? How important are you to you? I'm here to share my view on the world and help you connect with your awesome and unique self, firing up your desire to start healing from within. Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Healing from Within. Today, I would love to talk about the power of perspective. It really is coming down to, again, my beautiful love of words and what they mean to me now. And from my tender young age of 60, I have been consciously reworking, renovating, redefining, call it what you will, words, the meaning of words as I use them in my language. And when I think about perspective, I think about the journey that I had with a business that I created back at the turn of the century, which really sounds quite strange because when I was a kid, the turn of the century was the 1800s going into the 1900s. And I used to think it was pretty cool that my nan was born in 1898, and that made her very old. But back at the turn of our latest century, so back around 2000, I started a shop. It was called Loose Produce, and it was an absolute dream of mine. It was something that I can remember saying to my husband at the time, if I do this, I could die happy tomorrow. It meant so much to me. So somebody recently asked me if this business that I had created and I owned and I managed for about 12 years had been a success. And I found myself struggling. The first answer that actually came to me was no. And I realized that the answer of no had come from very much that financial perspective. It never made much money. And this particular realization made me feel very uncomfortable because I loved my shop. And when I thought about my shop, and even now, it brings me so much joy. So how could I, without much thought to the answer of that question, come up with a no? I wanted to know how I could see something that had brought me so much joy as a failure. Now, let me explain the layout of this shop. It was quite unique. It was a wonderful, wonderful size. It actually was bigger than the home that my husband at the time and the kids and I were living in. There was a playroom in the corner of the shop, and that really was designed to keep my children occupied when they needed to be, because when I opened this shop, my daughter was about 4 and my son was about 7. And there was the realization that I needed to look after them. So, great, let's create a playroom. And at the time, butcher's paper. I grew up with butcher's paper. If someone had to go and do some drawing, you'd pull out a huge roll of butcher's paper. You draw on it, and it could be as long as you wanted. It was great. There was a small television and a video recorder. Yes, showing the times. A video player, VHS player, up on the wall. It was opposite a lovely little couch that the kids could actually sleep on if they needed. The kids loved it, and the parents loved it too, because customers could come in with their kids. Their kids would hoon over to the corner of the shop, as happy as the proverbial pigs in mud, and that would free, typically it was the mums that would come in and do the shopping. They could also sit and have a cuppa and have a chat. This shop was full of beautiful smells that came from the kitchen because there was indeed a large commercial kitchen in the shop. I loved baking. And often I had bread baking, I'd have muffins baking. It was cool. At Christmas time, we would bake up little fruitcakes. And so you would walk into this shop and it smelled like a huge home. Often for me, particularly in the colder months, I would actually have my family's evening meals simmering away in the slow cooker in the kitchen. So again, customers would walk into these beautiful smells. My children made new friends there. My daughter started learning drama with a beautiful lady that lived across the road. And 15 years later, my daughter became a qualified drama teacher herself and has spent much time sharing her love of drama by teaching alongside her drama teacher. I can now share that she is a qualified primary school teacher and is now teaching in a school not far from her home and has landed, as her first job out, the position of drama specialist, teaching from pre-primary up to year 12. So, so many good things. As I'm telling you the story now, I'm thinking, wow, I really was creating some amazing opportunities, amazing memories, and amazing energy. And it all stemmed for me from the perspective of following my heart. Even when times were emotionally challenging for me, I found comfort in knowing that I was doing something I loved. I was meeting lots of beautiful people across all ages. I saw clients come in carrying children within them. Then I would see the children in their mother's arms. And I had the shop long enough to see some of the little kids grow up and get their driver's license. I would get invited to customers' weddings. It's to this day, I still have customers who I will meet on the street and they will comment on the shop. And so this got me thinking, how can something be a success and a failure, or what makes something a success or a failure? My go-to is the good old dictionary. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, success is the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. It defines lack. So the dictionary defines lack as a lack of success. So was it possible that my shop was both a success and a failure at the same time? From a financial perspective, yeah, the shop was a failure. It racked up debts. These debts led to a marriage separation and to the sale of our home. From a personal perspective, it was a resounding success. And I would like to share 3 reasons from my perspective as to why, for me, it was a resounding success. Number 1, I followed my heart. From the moment I had the idea of opening this shop, there literally was no stopping me. I knew I had to do it, and not doing it wasn't an option. From the financial perspective, I needed to borrow money. The banks wouldn't touch me. I even approached a financial investor with what I thought was a phenomenal business plan. No, there was no historical evidence to show that it was going to be a success. So it was no. So eventually I was able to borrow against the home. My gorgeous husband at the time, I probably wore him down. But anyway, my name went on the title and they gave me access to borrow against the home. And so off my vision went, my dream of this shop started to come to life. This is a beautiful and still living example of the fact that when you follow your heart, you open yourself up to a beautiful flow of energy. The power of this energy can carry you through some very tough times. It can keep the smile on your face as you work through your day. It is at the root of miracles that occur on a daily basis. Now, I've got to be honest and say that I did go through my own personal journey with cancer, and I went through this journey whilst I had the shop. And yeah, it was something, I suppose, because of the impact that this shop had on my heart, it buoyed me as I went through my own healing process. The second reason that I would love to share with you as to why, from a personal perspective, my business was a resounding success. I had fun. Every day was a new adventure for me. I could bake some bread. I could chat with the delivery guys and the sales reps. I could have coffees with customers. I could go out and buy more stock for the shop, or I could even research a customer's query. I fess up time. I love books. And back in the year 2000, look, gluten-free was just coming into its own. Organic existed as biodynamic. Autism was just coming in to impact on families' lives as children were being diagnosed. And the types of questions that mothers would come to me with, I simply had to go and find out. So I built quite a phenomenal library of resources, of books. And, you know, everything is energy, and it starts with food. So it was an opportunity for me to support mothers in supporting their children through all the ingredients that were in the shop. So the variety of daily life that was in the shop seriously excited me. I felt energized and mentally alive, and gosh, I would sleep well. I reckon it doesn't take science to know that having fun can make you feel good and help you relax. Maybe my nan was onto something when she kept saying to me, "Keryn, my dear, laughter is the best medicine." She was gorgeous. And the third part of this success from my personal perspective, I was focused on the journey of the shop. I was very, very connected to the shop and focused on what I saw as a journey. The future of the shop lay in what happened each and every day within the walls of that shop. The success of each day was linked to my ability to be present in the moment and in the energy of what was going on within the shop. Being present allowed me to connect with customers, and it allowed that little kid inside of me to connect with all the kids that used to come into the shop. When I was present in the moment, I was happy. Remember, every day that you wake up, and indeed the waking up every day, is something to be incredibly grateful for. Every time you wake up, you're waking up to a whole new beginning. Every day you wake up, that particular day, which becomes a today, is not linked to yesterday. It is free of any attachments, and it's yours to go forth and create in. This is a beautiful thing. Each day you wake up with choices. Each day you wake up to choices. It's all about perspective, and that choice belongs to you. Perspective is absolutely yours to own, and it creates your reality. So when I would sit down and have a conversation with my former husband, he was very supportive during the whole journey. However, his perspective was very much dollars and cents. Mine, I appreciated. I needed the money to go and buy the things so I could then sell the things. But it was much, much more than that. And it was that I couldn't put a value on, and I couldn't make him understand the value of. Now, the shop opened up on December the 8th, 2000. And today is 2023, and the shop is still going. The shop is still alive. It's no longer mine. Once I decided to release it, it only took me a month. The right owner came in. And it's like energetically, it happened beautifully. And it taught me so much and created so much joy. But it does bring me back to perspective. Success or failure. It depends on the parameters that you're using. And indeed, it can be both. When you get to the end of your day, has your day been a success or a failure? And it's up to you as to how you see it and what you focus on. Acknowledge that some things may not have flowed the way you would like. However, does that make it a failure? It really is yours. Is a room that has no light in it dark or simply lacking some light? Your perspective. And this is where I've really started to learn to take full responsibility of my life, because it's mine. And I choose to see it as I so desire. So I'm inviting you to be conscious when you're seeing something. Are you seeing the light side of it, or are you seeing the dark side? What perspective are you taking on your life right here, right now? Please feel free to share your thoughts. I love a good conversation. I love a good natter. So I really do encourage you. There are some contact links in the show notes below. So I invite you to share a perspective that you have on life. And let's just see how global we can get with all of these different shares. So thanks very much for spending this time with me. Thanks for listening. And I trust that you're able to go away with a little more connection to that part of you that is oh so in control of healing from within. So, as I do love to say, until we meet again, may your day be full of the magic that is you, wherever you may be. Everything in this world is energy, and that includes you. Remember, you are the most important person in your world, and you came into this life with all the tools you will ever need to support your healing from within. Let the healing begin.